The law of relativity. The law states that each person will receive a series of problems, tests of the initiation, for the purpose of strengthening the light within. We must consider each of these tests to be a challenge and remain connected to our hearts when processing to solve the problems. This law also teaches us to compare our problems to other problems, but everything is in proper perspective. No matter how bad we perceive our situation is, there is always someone who is in a worse position, and it's all relative. Take a breath. Breathe in. And you are now connected.
Greetings.
Greetings to you.
Hi. Long time no see.
It is in relative terms that you would say such a thing. A long time no see.
Of course.
The keeper is a little nervous about this discussion of the law of relativity. He's thinking about Einstein right now. He doesn't know too much about the problematic parts of relativity and those sorts of things. We'll try to keep it somewhat simple right now. The law of relativity may come in different forms as the definition that you have just given in the relative way of looking at your problems and the dynamics that you are related to. Many times this is also on other scales where you would see it as an observation, a point of looking at things with a particular way. For instance, what are you relative to? Where are you relative in this place? And when we say place, boy, that could be any place, because where are you relative to the sun? And how fast are you moving around the sun? In your definition of terms, it would be closer to 1,000 miles an hour around the sun. But where are you in this cosmic array of everything? As you are spiraling in your own parts of this galaxy, now we're talking millions of miles an hour.
Oh, yeah.
So, law of relativity is simply you are seeing two different things by two observers, and that brings up new points also. For you, being the observer, begins to change what is happening to the molecular understanding of what should and should not happen, especially in this 3D reality that you live in. So there are other terms that we could go on. By just you simply observing something, you are changing the outcome of what is happening. Law of relativity can so change. Which makes this not quite such a law now, is it? Because
Flexible.
you can also see it within how you are relative, yes, in the ways that the definition was given in the beginning, in that you are making points about your life. You are making points in progression and how you are relative to society, relative to each other. There are different synaptic scales. When we are looking at it in that sort of direction, you are seeing yourself and what you should be in this harmonization of consciousness here. So you see yourself in multiple ways, multiple kinds of processes of understanding such a thing as the law of relativity, but there are many different scales. Your scientists will understand more as this goes on. It's not really more. It's just a way of seeing, observing an object, the speed of an object, or where is it? Just like a GPS system is tracking you from satellites, you are understanding where it is that you are in a point of time. And that would be also where you are energetically at a point of time. Where are you now? this would be the question we might start here, and we will open it up for questions now. Who would like to take a hot seat now?
I'll take the hot seat. Since you brought up Einstein, we'll make the keeper really nervous. But this shouldn't be a technical answer. So, in the process of working on Felicity, or before she became that, I studied a bunch of different theories, including general theory of relativity and others, and came upon Dewey Larson's reciprocal system theory, and that seemed to help as a sort of a roadmap. It seemed to help in terms of saying that we could do this thing that I thought we could do, but no theory, including general theory, said that we could. And so I'm just curious if you're familiar with the reciprocal system theory and what your thoughts are on that as far as its applicability.
Truly, the keeper knows nothing about reciprocal. He can't even hardly say it.
Yeah.
Systems.
Yeah.
There's a revolutions that take place that create its own energy field within themselves. Similar to the vortexes you were all discussing a little bit earlier to this. There are energy forms. You will see this throughout your earth, and many of your cities are actually together partly because of these vortexes. One being even Nevada, where you have so much activity in Las Vegas, is a vortex. It's a giant vortex. It is a wind sort of vortex. Now, these vortexes all have energy. It is partly what is happening in this time zone that you are in. This is a vortex of energy that you are in. With these vortexes, it comes down to a finer point, and then it releases energy from both ends of a vortex. A vortex is not just the top, it is also a funnel, and it is created out through the bottom. And there are changes that happen within the whole entire spiralization of the vortex. Vortexes also create energies much in the same sort of fashion. So these are energies that are spinning, that are in the processes of uplifting more energetic pulses from itself. Each living thing is somewhat of a vortex, although it does not seem that to be shaped as such all the time. You can see evidence of this sort of thing throughout your nature in some ways. If you were to cut an apple, that would be one. We are just going to simply touch on it very quickly. But all of nature and everything a part of it, for instance, the galaxy you spiral in and this galaxy that is spiraling from a different vortex that is also drawing it in, are all part of nature. And so there are grand scales that we would say that happen on different dimensions, being that you are in a 3D one. Only certain technologies will work in this sort of way. In what you can manipulate them to, as consciousness raises, new technologies will naturally be given and understood to a certain degree. So with centrifugal motion, you can create very interesting energy, and the energy will be created. It is how it is harnessed, though, that is the key. And much of it can be harnessed more efficiently if it can be used in ways that are still being slowly understood to some degree on this plane of reality. It will come as naturally a conscious arises to it.
So is that the same basis in which our chakras work on? Is like a vortex, so to speak, or a funnel that opens at both ends?
Yes, somewhat of a funnel is what opens at both ends. You call it your crown chakra, and it moves all the way through you. It is how you are connected to the earth. It is how you are connected to much more than you know. How far does your energy pattern go out? And we would say it has the potential to reach, truly, the infinite of all things. You have a bubble of biology, so you don't see much of this here. But you are much in these energy patterns. Now, it might not be the exact way that many people would see their chakra systems working. They are more or less understanding the levels of how you are put together in certain ways, how you are connected in certain ways. Their levels of understanding, and that is why the heart will feel so much, is because there is a compressed bit of energy right here. It is where much of your emotions will come from. You will know if you are following, for instance, your path, your destiny, what it is that you want to be as you're dreaming, for you will feel it right away. If it is something you are dreading, you are going to be feeling that with there first, usually. If it is something you are attracting, something you are dreaming, your whole body's systems are consciousness. It is not always quite up here in the head. It is all throughout your system, and is not even in this one little field of energy. You are putting it, and it is preceding you before you are walking. Your energy fields are in your own eyes observing something. You are expecting something. It is all connected to the consciousness that you are in. So you are connected to a very interesting web here in this plane of reality that we will call humanity on this earth. And in these interconnected, now we're talking again with the real law of relativity. Where are you in relative to where you were, to what you were doing? And this brings new perspectives of what it is that you can be focusing your path, yourself, your dreams, your consciousness on. For that is one of the most key things, is that you would like to expand yourself energetically. Always understanding new ideas, harnessing them, so that you can experience a new type of life. It is partly why you have come in the first place.
Is that why it's sometimes easier for us, being in a human body, to raise our own awareness or become even more conscious if we close our eyes for a moment and envision something, opposed to looking at it with our eyes, because of that law of relativity? If what we're seeing with our eyes can sometimes be deceiving.
We would say, yes, that is very true in many different ways and aspects that you bring this point up. For what it is that a blind person may see is going to be different than what a person that can see is going to be different from another person that is maybe colorblind. There are different dimensionalities. That's why different species will see different things. They have new filters, new levels of vibration themselves, and will see a certain thing. But on a grand scale level, you generally see much of the same things. Closing your eyes, now you are not quite interacting so well with this 3D plane. And now you are allowed to expand yourself in certain ways. We would also take a moment here to mention you can also center yourself and bring yourself much more out of the situations. For when you close your eyes, for instance, when you are sleeping, you are bringing yourself much out of those situations anyway. You are eventually centering yourself, and you are beginning to recharge, process part of yourself. And if you can do that with your eyes open, that would be really, truly magnificent. For you can feed on much of the light and energy that is around you in this sort of way. You can digest much of this. Now, wouldn't that be nice? The keeper is thinking already how this could benefit himself.
So that it kind of feels to me, because I'm imagining what you're saying, and it kind of feels to me like the difference maybe would be that you said, well, when you close your eyes, you become more centered, and cause kind of what I'm feeling is that to imagine myself allowing everything I see when my eyes open to come to me rather than reaching out to it, and if it's coming to me, then I'm more centered.
You can do this in multiple ways, and what works for you, and have you seen in your own processes will continue to work for you. If you believe it will work, it can very well work for you. We are not saying to use one tool only. You must close your eyes, you must get into your Zen and focus. But it does seem to help many people to be able to close their eyes and be able to center themselves. When we say center, to be present within yourself. For the answers are going to be within yourself. You are attracting this, and you are also truly tapping into the cosmos when you go within. And it is something that we would hope to see more of, for much of the things that you would like to connect to yourself are happening there. It is who you are. We would almost like to say, take a place that you can be alone with yourself and to possibly bake in your own energy. To understand who it is that you are, and being able to have this sort of thing is also another meditative way, and meditative, we only say, is another tool to be able to help you be able to disengage so much within the dynamics of your own personal situations and be able to look at another picture, at another broader perspective without so much of the emotional construct, so that you can create a new emotion by looking at the whole entirety of it. So you have more of a 3D sort of view on the same sort of subject. Does this help you?
It does, because it's a challenge as a human to work out of all of the senses of smell, of touch, of taste, of sight, and even the emotions that we work out of, and to keep that focus, because it's such a smorgasbord of feelings and smells.
And our brain wants to just grab everything and start processing it instead of allowing it to flow.
It is, and I think it's been much easier for a lot of humans to close their eyes, to bring focus. And I hear what you're saying, because this is something I've been practicing, is meditating with my eyes wide open.
Yeah.
And being comfortable, being able to regulate my heartbeat. It's a difficult thing to do, but I practice that more and more, and it does feel comfortable to be able to meditate with your eyes wide open. But it's difficult.
Yeah, I want to comment on that and see what they have to say about that too, because I've been recently working very hard. I can get in a very loving place when I'm meditating, but I've been working really hard at trying to figure out how to do that in my daily life and the stuff that I do, just the regular old stuff. It's hard to do that. It's just like, if I take a moment and I think about it, I can go into that really loving space. And then I have to start thinking about stuff and doing stuff, and then it fades. So I'm like, why is this so hard? It shouldn't be. It doesn't seem like it should be. Yeah,
it's hard to stay out of drama, other people's drama, or even think about that. And I think this is what they've been centering on and steering us towards. One is getting out of drama and staying out of it. But I would like to hear them elaborate on what it was we've just been talking about.
We can say it is just a tool.
Right.
And what it is that for each person is going to be different anyways. You can very well meditate with your eyes open, and in fact the keeper does this himself in many sorts of fashions to bring about what it is that he would like to be experiencing relative to where he is. Again, the law of relativity. Anyways, we see different aspects being projected here. It is okay to have many of what it works for you. We are just suggesting certain things. You do not have to particularly close your eyes. You can be present with eyes wide open. It is truly understanding and finding the joy out of everything. And many times the greatest of joys, it is why you have your eyes in this particular form, to be able to enjoy all that there is. Understanding light, colors, objects, other energy, interactions with all that this plane of reality has to offer. So you have different parts of yourself that you can be energized by, including your eyes. But many times, as long as the eyes are open, We simply say it can be distracting in some levels of your thinking, but it is not something that we will say this is the way it is and not. For it's not going to be the same way for all people. It is some more beneficial to have your eyes open.
If you're driving.
Yeah.
Especially. But we wouldn't rule out closing your eyes, and driving is impossible either.
I've tried it. It can be done for a short amount of time.
We do not suggest this now. We will mention this.
You're to be responsible.
We do want you to push the envelope, not to close your eyes while you're driving when we say this, but to push the envelope of what is your reality, what it is that you can do within your constructs. It is okay to make mistakes, but pressing the envelopes of what it is that life is in itself, what you can experience joyfully.
I have a friend who's blind, and she, as a child, used to ride her bike. Because nobody told her she was blind, she didn't know. So she rode her bike. She doesn't do that now, but in talking about it, she doesn't really know how it is that she could do it. She just knew. She could just do it. And she's not entirely blind. She has tiny bits of vision, but yeah, I mean, what we think we can and cannot do with our eyes is not really...
Well, our other senses kick in too.
Mm-hmm.
Become more vibrant.
So when you say pushing the envelope, is that, let's say, in context with a movie that we've been watching that the keeper is familiar with, called Solar Revolution, about the solar aspect, how it's affecting us in our morphic field and our magnetic field, and how we relate to that information that's coming in. What are we doing with it? What is your take on that?
What is it you are doing with it is exactly what you are doing now. You are already beginning to feel some of this energy moving into yourself. This energy, this vortex that you have. This is an echo of time, we will again say about this. Energetically, you have new opportunities coming available now. You are reconnecting. Yes, your senses are becoming more vibrant. It is that you are re-understanding parts of yourself and rediscovering yourself, and much of this is dynamics that you are realizing, yes, that you truly create your reality, and you can be taking more of the responsible part of yourself and interacting that, engaging that, it would be a better word, to your scenarios that you are living. And realizing truly that these are illusions. This is a place that you are changing the game while you are playing it.
So it's just like another time loop?
In a sense, it is a time loop, yes. But in this very moment, you are changing your own past time loops. Yeah. And you are changing your own future time loops. And that's why the true power of where you are is now, in this present moment. And in each of your future present moments, it does feel like one particular timeline that you are on here. Much of that's going to begin to fade away in the future. And that's where dual realities, dimensions will start to come into play as time will begin to change in new dimensions. And it will be interesting, for you are still carrying these physical templates of what it is that you are and how your new realities will happen. We are not even quite sure what will happen on such a scale of this sort of plane of reality.
So could we ask you a little bit about the information that is out there for us to listen to? We know our lunar cycle, we know our yearly cycle, day cycle. is there truth, or is it factual that our universe, our solar system, moves throughout the universe, and it's say a 26,000 year cycle?
It moves in cycles. We will say that. To what cycle it is, you have your own particular cycles. For what it is on one scale will be different than another. You have lapses that you will meet again. You are meeting yourself in again at this time, at this point of the 2012, 21. The keeper was getting a little nervous that moment. But there are different echoes of time. There was a great destruction at this time, another time of your history. And you may be feeling some of that.
Are you speaking of Atlantis, or before that?
We are speaking of Atlantis in this particular moment of time.
Yeah, but it's different now. We're not going to do what Atlantis did.
No, we don't perceive that happening. For much of the energy has already been harnessed in much of the ways. We are not predicting the same outcome. It is nothing similar to what you were before. In the fact, we shouldn't say that in the same way. You are developing. The time of Atlantis, you were developing your consciousness as a whole. There was much being understood, but much of it was crashed altogether by a misuse of great energies. Wow. Too much was given too early on and was misused greatly, and it almost destroyed the entire human race in one sweep.
Knowledge? Was that knowledge that was...
It was the
misuse
denial.
Of knowledge.
It was the denial of the Earth Mother and the loving water planet energy that we have here. They had implants that prevented them from having emotion. We're not doing that this time. I mean, we're honoring emotions to some extent, right? I mean, wouldn't you say that's a big part of it?
You are honoring each other more, and when you are honoring each other, and including the planet in this sort of the way, it's the whole feeling of the whole entirety. What it is that you feel within your own body, again, very connected to the earth. If you are taking care of yourself, you are also taking care of the earth. If you are healthy yourself, you will be balanced in those sort of ways. Yes, there was a great misbalance within humanity itself. And that misbalanced, misunderstood energy greatly affected the earth in its whole entirety. You are connected. Each of you are the dynamic. You are, in a way, very much one with the earth. And so the dynamic of humanity has changed itself from much of that. We won't say that it's not the same in the fact that you have been developing your consciousness. It is the different process that has happened. You have taken yourself, and not only taken yourself, but taken your older templates of who you are, and you are changing it all together in this bubble of biology. Very interesting to us to see this. Usually a great destruction happens. And then there is more of a cleansing, in a sense. This is not quite happening here. There's still going to be chaos. There was chaos then as well. It wasn't all perfect even in the time of Atlanteans. They had their own problems that they were understanding, discovering. But much of the information was misused in certain ways. The powers were created much of the disaster that had happened here. All of you are connected to this earth in similar fashions, even now. It's just the energy has been recreated and retransformed in a more harmonic way, so that it is more accepting. Still, within yourself, you feel where the pollutions are. You feel what is not incongruent with yourself. And it is a whole. And it not only affects the earth, but the sun shining on you, you are giving information to the sun as well of what it is that your own needs are. And so there is a great interaction because you are part of this earth. It is not just this earth giving information to the cosmos. It is you as well. It is the vibration of all living things that it is putting off energy. You put off, in a sense, your own light. You may not see this light with your visual eyes in the same way that we may be saying what light is to you, but you are connected to all the lunar cycles. You are connected to all of nature. You are not different. You are not separate. Even though you have these cities and constructs, you are all part of it, and it is you. You are part of this earth. You are human. You are Gaian.
I've been reading the Raining Cedars series, Anastasia's stuff, and a huge part of what she's teaching is that mankind has gotten away from honoring and working with the land and creating healthy food and a healthy environment to live in by creating concrete cities and mass-producing food. And I wonder if you could comment, because it seems to me that there's tremendous value in what she says, but I also have this feeling that there's a certain diversity and a certain character of our society that although we can learn to live in harmony with the earth better, I kind of wonder if simply going back to a single hectare plot of land for all of humanity may not be moving forward.
Yes, there is a diversity that is here, and it may not be for everyone to be a certain way. We're going to touch on this, for this is a broad subject that can come up many times. One moment, please. There are different things, aspects of this, and we're not quite sure exactly where we might take this, but there are so many different slices of what it is that we are talking about here. For instance, how you feel about food. Some will argue about the GMO section of things and the benefits and causes and understanding what it is that can be affecting you as genetically, because these are different genes that are in plants. For instance, we will say one thing here, that nature has a way of bringing itself back to itself. You are adapting even though you are in these concrete cities. You are in an aspect that is different than where you are now. You are still very much connected to nature, although being in these cities, different vibrations does cause a different sort of its own vibration within a city itself. People could understand this going to New York and standing in Central Park. The keeper has not done such a thing. But you could understand the own level and frequency of each city, and also as you pass out through these cities going into nature. This is understood on many scales here. We understand this. But what we would like to say is you as a human also change over time, and you can adapt. Yes, many times there has been other discussions here about phones or microwaves and that sort of thing being very harmful. Now, for some, if you feel this is going to be a harmful effect, you will. Others naturally enjoy these elements that have come in to Earth and have naturally been able to tune out much of these waves and harmful effects. Although you can see much of the changes in the structures that are being presented. Now, we are not saying that to go out and try to be doing more unusual things, but you, as a human form, are adapting to many different things already. You are changing the level of what it is that you can accept within yourself and within your reality just by the thinking of this is okay. And so it is. You are literally creating your reality by understanding it from a different perspective. Now, you can also understand it in the ways that it may not be so beneficial to live in a certain way. We are not going to say one is going to be good and the other one is completely bad, for it is going to depend on the individual.
In other words, if we believe it's harmful, it will be harmful. If we believe
Much
it's
of
not,
that is true, yes. We won't say the entirety, for this would be relative to the law of relativity, with the whole mass consciousness believing that it is a harmful or a good thing. It may, in fact, be a good thing, or it may, in fact, be overall a harmful thing.
So there's both the power of the vision, what you see in something, plus the vision that the whole of society sees that thing.
Yes, and how connected you are to society and the way it is, you can also pull away from those belief systems and, yes, believe in an entirely different way of thinking.
Wouldn't you say most of us in this room are kind of that way, comparatively to a lot of our society?
In a sense, yes.
We're the odd ducks.
We
That
may
gives
not
us the
put you
ability.
in a category of an odd.
But that does give us the ability to see things however we want to, right?
we're on the leading edge of thought.
Yeah.
It's attitude.
We can see things. It's easier for me to see things differently because I care less about what the rest of society thinks. In fact, I usually don't think much of what the rest of society thinks. Right? So does that in fact make it easier for me to create my own new reality?
If you feel that it makes it easier for you to create your own reality. Again, this is a perception that you have.
This is your box.
And we would say in many cases it would be beneficial for you to not be so concerned with what the media is concerned about.
Oh yeah.
What is concerned about certain things within even the school structures of things. It is within yourself that we would like you to invite you to find many of your answers that are already there. The array of what you can understand in the cosmos is all completely there. You have a natural connection to all that there is in many different senses, as long as you're open to the idea that you are. If you feel that you're completely separated in some of these ways, as a human form can, then you will.
Do you ever do any work with a Hathors?
Not in particularly.
Are you aware of them?
Not on a great scale.
So is this teaching experience that we're going through here on Earth now, especially right now, from now to the end of this year, this 2012 evolution, is that really about us really getting a really big sense of how powerful we truly are, and that to get really focused on what we truly want?
That is going to be, again, up to you. If you are going to focus yourself, we see many different outcomes that could come through this 2012 event. That there could be somewhat of a dual reality. We don't really foresee that as much as we may perceive that much of the chaos that are happening for other particular people may get extremely stronger, and they will see and deal with more as that time goes on. And also other people that are feeling well, that are understanding, they are creating their reality, will begin to do that easier. It will begin to be kind of a construct that they can move past. But again, these are energies that we're not even quite sure exactly what is going to happen with humanity as it is crossing its own bridge, as it is graduating.
It's like next week. It's like coming up here. We're very close.
You mean the December 21st?
It's December 21st.
Much of this is happening. We do understand there are fine-tunings of what it is that we are seeing here. There has been many things that have been discussed on the side of the veil of what it is that could be happening here. And we are seeing the energy and just simply reading the energy of what is happening compared to other things that we have seen as well. But this is a very unique situation that you are all in. Do play with it. Understand that you are the creators of this reality. Of your particular reality. We will say on a more individual basis here. Begin to step into your power, dear ones. You have this ability. You are understanding on different scales. Allow yourself this. You do yourself somewhat of a great disservice not being the person that you come here to be, to live what it is that you enjoy. Give yourself that bit of freedom. Step out on that ledge and begin to walk. And see how far. We have a story. The keeper was asked recently, his boss wanted his freight crew to be speeding up a bit. There has been many different forms that they come up with this, but the boss said they were short this time. In fact, they were getting some people from another store. And he said, Ryan, I want you to fly. And Ryan considered this for a second. We would like to see you all take that last step. You fly with your dreams. It is time for humanity to bring and step into their own power, to step within themselves, to become what it is to truly understand it, have that full connection with what it is that you would like to be, of the aspects of your word, so that you can enjoy much more of the fuller part of yourself here in this present reality.
I definitely have noticed the building up of this time, everyone's emotions, it has brought up a lot of new opportunity to do exactly what you said. It's brought up new ideas, new opportunity to actually, as an individual, to take a leap, to jump into something new that may feel uncomfortable. I know that's been presented to me, and that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm getting ready to take a giant leap.
Go within yourselves, your heart, before you take these steps, to know if this feels congruent with what it is that you are, and take monitoring of all the situations that you are in, of where it is that you are, because you can create this energy of joy, this energy of love and understanding the more fulfilling part of your life. We are not saying to discard part of your life, discard anything that is bad and horrible, that is dark, but to understand and harmonize with all that there is here for you. Understanding this aspect of yourself will greatly enhance the greater part of the light that you are also wanting to be in. You are all each here harmonizing with the other gods around you, with the other creators around you. Let's play well together.
Be nice, be nice.
Play nice. We're good. All's relative.
So, do our past lives influence or affect our current lives to any degree?
Absolutely. Energy is passed through as much as the energy is also passed through. When a situation is great enough, it can be passed through DNA-wise in these physical forms, and you pass it on to, if you don't quite get through the understanding of what it was that your energy form and pattern was, you pass that genetic on. That is one thing that you are taking the controls back on, my dear. You can also take back and clear much of that energy from yourself. Not only the physical energy part of itself, but yes, the energy part that may have been your past lives scarring that keeps you from doing certain things, that brings limitations, but these limitations were a safeguard that you put up for yourself.
They're just not personal past life either. It's society, cultural, all that can be impressed that you can release.
Yes, in a sense, if you can get to the root of what it is that is troubling you, what it is that has happened in your past life, and truly understand it, and yes, again, in this present moment, rewrite some of that. Re-understand, process it, and allow yourself to move on from that, yes.
Do you see that that's what we're doing a little bit differently than before? It's like this time loop that we've gone through. We've realized that, and we're actually transmuting those things to actually work with the planet and the universe. With the
yes, you are working with yourself better.
Yes, ourself. Yes,
yourself better. Yes, in congruent. You're also working with the planet better in a sense. There are still going to be processes, yes. The human can be a little more more lighter on the planet, can leave less of a carbon footprint on the planet. It can be more harmonizing and in touch with the planet more. But it also needs to be in touch with itself and create this balance.
Would you say there will be perpetual processing throughout ever?
There will always be a balancing act, and it will be as you are gaining more and you are expanding yourself, you are always taking on more energies, and you are understanding and perceiving more. You're becoming more aware of yourself. And with this new awareness, you are also taking on more of the dark, more of the light as well. You are understanding and you are bringing yourself into a more harmonization with all that there is around you. So you are harmonizing your energy with all that there is. And how does that work? Boy, that is an interesting thing in the concept, because now you are understanding on different barriers, languages. And that is why love is a great one, because it is a universal one, is it not? You can be in touch with animals. They can sense fear, and they can many times sense your love. You will notice this in nature. Plants can feel this as well. They can't express the same way that you may, but you can be harmonizing more with the energies that are around you in this sort of way. And it is also understanding the dynamics of what it is on a human form, of those people that seem like they're always in your way, that are very kind of, oh, I don't want that. They are part of a reflection of yourselves. For not everyone sees them that way.
We're all in this dance together, kind of the way I like to see it.
You're all evolving yourselves and progressing yourselves in different ways. And so for someone that may be having, for instance, a hard time in this life, and they chose this certain attributes to be in this life with, and that could be more discomforting to those around themselves, they wanted to experience what it would be to be that sort of form. You've chosen the forms that you are all here in.
So there's great wisdom in all of the choices, all over the planet.
Yes, there are wisdom in your choices as you make them. It is all in how you decide to walk your path. It is the experience that gives you the wisdom. And some of you may say, well, why is he doing so well at an aspect? Well, sometimes they have, as one point of maybe a personal past life, they have gathered some of that, and they have brought more of that through to now.
How about if you're in a situation where you're done with that energy and you don't want to move it forward at all, it's still...
That doesn't happen. You always want to move forward. There is always an expanding part of yourself. It does not just stop and that's it. You are always expanding. You are always moving forward. There are new desires, as though some here, we won't say it many, some here feel the ego is not quite a good thing. But the ego is naturally wanting more. That is a natural process of who it is that you are, and you are naturally wanting to have more experiences in different things. And this is not again, good or bad thing. It is the wisdom that you use in these things.
Well, is it not true that the ego is actually, its function is actually to keep you safe?
It's an identity marker that you have placed on yourself, and it is somewhat of at how you should be in a certain situation. It is how you present yourself. You can change much of this energy if you do so desire. It is also the desires that you have, some of the wants that you have. We don't say deny yourself part of it, because then you are truly limiting yourself.
It's just learning that balance and when it's out of balance.
Yes. Partly some of the reason why many are not rich is because they know of a responsibility of what it would be to be rich. And the dynamics that would play with them in that sort of way wouldn't be incongruent with what it is that they want. Or not just want, but congruent with who they are, the vibration that they are putting off energetically within themselves. And so there has to be a congruent part of itself, always. Ongoing of what is going on in here is going on without. That's why what is going on in here, much of it is also going on within the planet.
As we move forward and we process things, are we fed information? Are we downloaded with information from others in the universe?
You can be downloaded from others of the universe. It isn't, if that is what you want in some ways. Sometimes it's not always what you want. But you can be downloaded in multiple ways from the universe. How you are being downloaded from your own planet as we speak, as you are taking in this air, living this bubble of biology.
So when you say we can be, not sure how to describe them, but if the outside sources want us to have more information, can they choose to just send us information? And I use the term download, but can we be receiving information awake or asleep or whenever, and that they want us to move in a different direction or move further in a direction? Or, I don't know if I'm saying...
We would say,
enough, but
for one moment, allow yourself to know what it is that you would like to have. What is congruent to you, even within this channeling that is happening here? What is congruent with you in what you feel is okay, what you take as the gems of what it is that you feel is wisdom or is not. That is going to be your own particular filter. And if there is a download or something that is not quite congruent with what it is that you would like to experience or understand, or you don't feel quite right about, you do not have to take that information and that energetic exchange upon yourself to create yourself a reality from that. But yes, you go into different realities. Yes, when you sleep, do you not learn from your dreams in particular ways? It may sometimes feel like a very backwards way of learning something. But you are taking on these ideas, and yes, many times your guides will connect to you in these sort of ways. And will try to help you understand certain situations or things about yourself that they feel is very important. So these guides, we would say, are your friends that have been around you many times since birth. These guides will sometimes come through in these ways, and it won't be just these guides. There may be others that could be also trying to simply trouble you in a certain way. You may perceive it as such. But you are also part of all there is, in a sense. And the human form is understanding its narrow vibration of what all that is to itself.
You do understand how you are assisting everyone that gets to share time with you as this information is channeled, because you do know that it opens our minds a little bit more. We get to expand on that. We feel more comfortable. It's also an affirmation almost. It is many of us that are here have had a lot of thoughts, not knowing for sure, but it's even sharing. You channeling through the keeper is almost an affirmation of so much that we wonder about, and this has been a very, very great broadening my awareness and my consciousness. Again, I just have to say thank you to this opportunity, but two, could I ask you, before the keeper came into this body, did you and him have an agreement for this channeling? Or was this just something that a connection was made at some point?
We have said this once before, and we'll say it again. We are somewhat of the same aspect of each other. And with that, yes, there is a knowledge of each other. And a contract in some ways, yes, together. We had made this somewhat of an arrangement. It was discussed that a possibility could be present, and whether he were to activate it, he did decide to do that.
But not until you had scared the shit out of him first.
Those were different and separate experiences. There are different entities than what you are thinking of that is taking place here.
The ones that scared him actually weren't you.
We're not.
Oh.
But it activated.
It was an awakening process that he himself has been through in a certain way.
Well, sometimes you need to be scared to kind of just be shocked into opening up to something new that you wouldn't have been open to otherwise. Sometimes it takes a little
jump start.
Yeah, a little jump start to open yourself up. But it was a funny story, driving breakneck speeds down the dirt road, trying to get away from the alien. Now it's funny. Then it wasn't funny to him.
It's funny to you.
Well, it was to me. Yeah, I didn't do it either. Yeah.
Do you know anything about this spirit molecule that's present in everything, and that we as humans actually...
There's consciousness in everything. In every particle there is consciousness. It's an infinite part of itself. It is connected to all there is. And all there is not divided from it. So, in a sense, all there is has a soul. Now, it may not be in the same sense as you see something that is dead, and it does not emanate the same sort of frequency as it did before. But as we discussed last week, energy is always changing in and out of form. And it goes with all particles of the universe. There is always a new form that it is taking on, a new consciousness, and it is brightening up its own way.
So it's our understanding that when the pineal gland is fully activated within us, we can even have a conscious awareness of all dimensions.
We're not sure that you could have a conscious understanding of all dimensions. For there are many barriers that are placed here that we will call the veil that you have been encountering intentionally. And it is these wavelengths that you are understanding much of your reality and the way it is here. That it makes it nearly impossible to truly understand the constructs of all that is around you. And all the forms and vibrations, the invisibility, for instance, the gravity of this own universe, there is what the scientists call a dark matter, for you would be spinning out of orbit.
Right.
If that was not there, there is much more that is happening behind the scenes that you're not quite aware of. Dimensionalities that are happening, dimensions within dimensions. Even your own planet has dimensions within itself. You are a dimensional, multi-dimensional being. We are trying to unlock you from that. You are one with much of you, what it is that is around you, yes, dimensions you are going into, but it is also an expansion of who it is and what it is that you are bringing yourself into new dimensions.
So is one of the great keys to unlocking that activating our pineal gland?
Is activating much of your consciousness. We may say, yes, activating your pineal gland, yes.
Did you just say that we're going into new dimensions, as in dimensions that never existed before?
No, we are not saying dimensions that didn't exist before, but you are becoming aware of now.
Are there an infinite number of dimensions?
We are not quite sure.
A whole bunch, though.
There are many dimensions.
Many.
To the extent of what all the dimensions are, there may be new dimensions created. But we're not fully understanding of these dimensions, nor is it really relevant to certain ways and degrees, as long as we are progressing as a whole, as all of the universe progresses as a whole.
So is one of the things that happens here through the channel, as you're channeling through the keeper. I know there is a mutual benefit. You learn from us as we learn from you. Is it these times that we get to spend together like this that really enhances the progression of that? What really, is there something that you would like, a question you'd ever like to ask us?
It is interesting that you bring this up. We enjoy these experiences. We enjoy what it is like to be present somewhat in a bubble of biology as such as this and interact with the beings that are here now. We don't have very many particular questions for observing this on many different scales of what human beings are and how it is that you are processing and functioning throughout the day. For you are very unique in the galaxy in the fact that you have such a free place to live on, this free plane of reality. And you choose to do what you will with a very unguided, we would say, in the sense of how you go about your days.
So we're more chaotic, perhaps, than beings throughout most of the rest of
We
the
wouldn't say that either. You are more free to do and don't have quite such a narrow focus as other beings may on other planets. It is just simply a different vibration altogether of how you are all each understanding each other and the world around you, and the we're searching for the right word here, the drama that happens here.
Oh yeah. Well, part of that is because we have, as I understand it, we have more emotion than most beings throughout the rest of the universe, right?
Your range of emotion is astounding.
Yeah. Makes this a bit hard to deal with for right, for other beings.
This is
looking at us
a
and go,
good
"Whoa,
thing,
stay away."
though. You are understanding the vibrations within yourself very well. This is a great connection that you have, and you have come to this planet to also experience much of that in these bodies here. Allow these range of emotion, especially love, and those sorts of things. You have a range of emotion of pure rage sometimes.
Usually when driving. With eyes closed.
With eyes closed.
Road rage.
So as far as you know, in your knowledge, are we the most unique?
No, we would not say you are most unique. Every being is unique in a sense.
Are we different than anyone else? I mean, are we?
You would be surprised how similar in many ways that you are similar to other parts of the galaxies as well, and other forms of beings like yourself. You're not entirely as different as you may think you are.
The ego thinks we are.
You have different ranges of understandings within yourselves. And you're perceiving things that are happening in your life very differently. And this is the experience of the human being. It is not a right or wrong or quite more unique than something else or quite more the same as something else. It is just a range, a vibration that is here and existing in this particular time of your linear reality as you would see it as.
Because our source energy is love. It's also the source energy of all the other beings in the universe, galaxies. Are they also love? Is their vibration love?
All beings have a sense of love within themselves, the ability to love in ways. It is a connection. It would be sort of like saying, is there divine in all things? Yes, there is divine and sacred parts of all things.
It's just that how it expresses is different then, right?
Yes, how it is expressed, what may, for instance, this would be an easy one for you guys to understand, is joy. What someone may enjoy here may be completely different with what someone may enjoy here. And both are expressions of joy, but not the same. It is much the same with love. There are some parts of the universe that have the ability to do different dynamic things with love. An exchange of love, and love making is even different. Energies are completely different. You see this within even your own nature, that love is expressed differently.
Oh, yeah. Jeffrey Dahmer certainly had a different look at things than some people.
And you may see, yes, that there are terrible things that happen all the time. And yes, these energies, and they are experiencing a dark, dark form of things. But they are also beginning to understand more of what the light is by experiencing this dark, dark side of things. There's an expansionness of both. It's not a denial of one, because if you deny the dark side of things, you are not expanding anymore.
Isn't that how we on an individual basis are now transmuting those things?
Yes, you're transmuting much of the things that are around you, and transmuting this energy creates a new vibration that your reality changes with it itself.
Would you say that's why being in a space of love is so powerful? Because in that space we can embrace everything?
Yes, being in a space of love and the degree of that love can bring you to the expansionness of all things, to see and accept all things, even the dark of the dark.
Right.
What is your definition of the dark?
Darth Vader.
Absent of light, it would be there were forms of going from what you feel is the good and what you feel is the bad, and the extremes and everything in between, and the expansionness of all that there is from there. What you think is the worst of all the worst things that could ever happen, or what you feel is the worst information you have been given, or it's understanding all the aspects of your particular paradigm, your range of understanding what is good and what is bad. These polarized different ideas.
So it's all relative from one person to another.
Exactly.
Would you say that throughout the rest of the universe that there's that concept of good and bad, dark and light? Is that pretty universal of a thing?
Not in a sense to all beings, no. As you expand yourselves, you will not quite see things. And this is also a topic that will probably come up later on as we talk about polarization.
Next week.
You are ranging yourselves in a different way and looking at things. And when you begin to release much of that, for instance, when you die, you are not polarized anymore. The judgments of all that there was before you, much of that goes away. Now when you come back, that's where the energy begins to come back into itself. That's where you may come with somewhat scar tissue from a previous life, or you are extending that on to your own predecessors, your kids.
Well, you're really doing both, right? I mean, I'm only who I am because of all my lives before, too, right? I mean, I bring scars, but I bring all the great things that came from them as well, right?
No.
No.
You are a fractured piece of what you are. For if you were all that you were from all your other lives, there would be much more knowledge here, much more wisdom that you carry with you. But this is a design that you have put of before you with this veil that you have.
Well, aren't we lifting that veil so we can know all
Yes,
of that?
you are becoming more present with who you are, and that expansionness naturally brings you back to much of what it is that you are. And that remembering of who you are, remembering of all that you were, is there. And you are naturally progressing. And you are feeling and being more fulfilled of what it is that you are, and connecting to more of the aspects that you are through that. Yes. We would say that that is definitely happening throughout humanity now.
If we're not consciously remembering who we were, how can we go about remembering who we were?
If you're not consciously understanding who you are now, or remembering who you were, it is okay if you do not remember who you were. That is the construct that you came here to experience this life with.
That we would forget.
That you would forget all that you were so that you can take on new experiences. That this would feel like a brand new life experience for yourself. It is okay if you cannot remember. We're not saying you must remember who you were. We are saying as you are expanding and naturally taking on more of the experiences around you, becoming more aware of yourself.
So it's kind of like 50 First Dates, right? The movie?
Mm-hmm.
Adam Sandler's girlfriend, she'd forget every 15 minutes everything before that.
I didn't see that.
It was every day was a new day.
It was every day, yeah. Every day. Started over. Every day.
You do understand what a big door you just opened in the last 5 minutes.
Are we going to be able to use these solar flares to transmute this energy?
It is going to be what humanity makes of it all. What humanity takes energy in as. It's a transformation of who you are now, and the expandingness of what it is that you are bringing yourself into. You're allowing yourselves these experiences to be part of yourself, and you are bringing yourself into new ideas. You do not have to fully understand what it was that you were before this. We will touch on this a little bit more. But you are coming forward to what it is that you are now, and you are understanding life in this reality, the way it is, the way it's designed. It is why you came to this earth. You are in love with this way of thinking, to understand yourselves this particular way.
Do we frustrate you with our silly questions?
Not in particular. No, in fact, it has been a joy to be here among these masters that are here, that do not know they are masters, that do not know the great and wonderful beings that you all are. And as you are experiencing this level of bubble, of biology, as we would say, it is all relative to what it is that you are becoming of yourselves.
And it's so relative that you have so enriched this moment again.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
And so it is.
So it is.
So it is.